What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back to bring you your MLB props for June the 10th. We had an okay day yesterday. If you mix and match my plays, you broke even. We got Drury, we got Votto, and Austin Riley just laid an egg. I mean, what do you want me to say? Is he going to homer today? Probably. If you really want to bet against me and you really think I suck at this, bet Austin Riley to homer, because I'm not taking him today. And last time I took him, he failed. And he failed last night, and then he homered the following day. So maybe he homers today. Maybe you get lucky, and maybe it's just a good matchup for Austin Riley. I'm sick of Austin Riley, not taking him today, maybe not taking him ever. But let's dive into the plays we got going on today. It's looking okay, but let's dive into it right now. So we start at the top of the list with Marcus Simeon. I don't know if I touched on this show, but I was talking to a few people about it. Marcus Simeon, 4 home runs in his last, I think, 4 days now, because he hit 4 home runs in his last 3 games. But now, he's up against the White Sox, facing Davis Martin, who is a rookie pitcher. I believe he's making his 2nd or 3rd start, so this pitch factor is not, much of anything. One game he allowed 4 runs, one game he allowed 1 run. He's got some swing and miss stuff, so he's okay. Is he going to do well against Simeon? I don't know, man. Simeon's been kind of living or dying by the home run right now. You see only half an extra base hit per game, but he is averaging 17 points per game over his last 7 days, so he's been pretty good. His projection is massive, 14.53, line of 6.5. There's a lot of things to like here with Simeon, but I don't know if I'm all in on him, right? Obviously, he's never faced Davis Martin. The pitch factor is pretty good, so it's a fine play. I think, what's holding me back is just the boom-bust nature of Simeon. As much as he can be great, he can also really stink it up. He's probably going to hit first in the order, and that's great, and we love that, and he's been, getting quite a few hits and getting a lot of bases, scoring runs, but I don't know. I don't think I'm in. But don't get me wrong, he could easily go way over this number. Texas could put on a lot of runs on this pitcher because we don't really know what to expect of him. Could be pretty volatile, but overall, I'm not all the way in on Simeon. Next is Buschette. I love Buschette today. I think he's in a great spot up against Elvin Rodriguez. If people who are unaware, Elvin Rodriguez is coming off a game where he allowed 11 runs to the Yankees. He was tipping pitches. They knew it was coming. He got smoked. So again, this pitch factor is not fully indicative of his true performance. But again, like Davis Martin, he's had some up and down performances. He's fully capable of getting shelled by the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are playing very, very well right now. And Buschette is the hottest hitter on the PrizePicks slate that we can target. As you see, a projection of 14, line of 7.5, 88% edge. I do love Buschette today. I think he's in a great spot, obviously hitting ahead of Vlad and Teoscar and Kirk, 3 guys who are very, very hot right now, and still the potential to drive in a player like Springer. Bo hasn't been super hot, but again, you have still season average of 8, last 14, 10, last 7, 11. He hasn't been getting those high highs, but at the end of the day, where I do like is playing in Detroit does have gap opportunities. You can get those extra base hits, those doubles, those triples. So I do like that for Bo, for a guy who has been hitting particularly well, over a hit per game, almost 2.5 total bases, almost a run per game. And as I mentioned, some RBI potential with Springer batting ahead of him. Not a ton of extra base hits, but again, in a ballpark that is good for extra base hits, not so much for home runs. And so I believe that Buschette could be a guy who stretches for one. And on top of that, he is a guy who can get a steal, right? He's a guy who can get a steal, and we do like Bo overall in this matchup. Whether he bats 2nd or 3rd, 4th, we don't really know, but chances are he will bat 2nd with Vlad and Teoscar behind him. And then, of course, Captain Kirk, who is insanely hot right now. So I do like Buschette as a core play. I also like Brandon Drury. He's going to get up against Andre Palente, and while, we don't know a ton about him, what I do like is, again, Cincinnati is still really, really hot. And so if you think you want to target them in this matchup in St. Louis, a favorable ballpark so far this season, he's playing particularly well. He went over yesterday. I think there's a good chance he goes over again, and I do like this matchup overall. I'd be willing to play Drury here. Votto also looks pretty good because he's been hot, and so does Pham. And so for all these reasons, I do think that Drury's in a great spot. Again, batting 2nd, in front of those guys, they can hopefully drive him in like we saw yesterday. And we get another over from Drury at only 7. Now, 7's a pretty high number, but, with some of these rookie pitchers, some of these younger guys who are coming up and pitching for the first time and don't have a ton of form, I don't mind going after those guys, because if you get on them early, sometimes you can knock them out really quickly, and then you still have to go to that bullpen, which, while it's pretty good for St. Louis, they can be had overall, so I don't mind it. And so I do think Drury is a viable option. And as you can see, his averages have all been pretty good. He's getting hits, like I mentioned, almost 1.5 per game. He's scoring tons of runs and getting a ton of bases. I do like Drury. I think he's in a great spot. Last person is Yordan Alvarez. Can he cash for me today? I don't know. I'm skeptical. I got to be honest. Well, all the averages look great. He's up against Pablo Lopez, who is a really good pitcher, in a ballpark that hasn't been very good to hitters this season in Houston. Now, he does have a slight edge for the pitch value metric that I do check, and he's projected for almost 12 points. His line is 7. Can he do it? Absolutely. But do I trust him to do it? I'm iffy on it. If it was me, I'd be using a core of Bo and Drury and flexing in a Simeon or an Alvarez. And then as well, you look at some of these unders. Dalton Varsho has a line of 6.5. I have him projected for 3.3 points. Now, what's worth pointing out is that he does have a 500 average in 4 at-bats against Kyle Gibson. So maybe he can get it going against Kyle Gibson. And then you have Kevin Kiermaier, who again projected for another under because he's been so bad lately. Probably hitting 8th in the order, which is good. Limits his at-bats, limits his potential upside. And on top of that, he still has a line of 6.5. The pitch value doesn't seem to be in his favor. Devin Smeltzer's been pitching particularly well. Again, if you want to run the risk, these are good spots. You see how badly these guys are doing. Can barely muster half a hit per game. Same with the total bases. A third of a run. Extra base hits for Kevin or RBIs for Kevin Kiermaier are not coming. 0.08 per game over 14 days is god-awful. And these guys do not have an extra base hit over the last 14 days, which again just limits their upside overall. They're slapping singles. They might draw a walk here or there. But Varsho in particular, he does bat first. So again, you're maximizing your plate appearances. Kevin Kiermaier getting bumped to 8th limits his plate appearances. And so that's a great chance to go under. And so for me, like I said, Buschette, Drury are the two I really like. I do like a Kevin Kiermaier under if that's the way you want to go. And I will mention this, a bonus play that I really, really like today. I really like Jose Berrios. Berrios is up against the Detroit Tigers, so starting pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. I like his strikeouts. On PrizePicks, last time I checked, they were 5.0. And it's important to mention that Berrios has struggled. He's been up and down this season. We don't really know, is he going to be good, is he going to be bad? But Berrios, coming off a game where he faced his former team in the Twins, had 13 strikeouts. And on this game, he's going against the Detroit Tigers, like I mentioned. They have the second highest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching over the last 14 days at 27%, and they have the lowest walk rate of any team in the majors over that same span. So again, if you want to bet Jose Berrios, he's only got to get to 5, and that's a push, and he can go way over. If you want to run a ladder on that, 6, 7, 8, really get those payouts, I do like it. And it's important to note as well, Berrios faced the Detroit Tigers 2 times last season. He had 8 strikeouts in 7 innings in one game, and he had 11 strikeouts in 7 innings in the other game. Now, he was much better last season, but I don't know, man. For my money, I think Berrios over 5 strikeouts is another great bet. So maybe you go Bo Buschette, hitter fantasy score over 7.5, Brandon Drury, hitter fantasy score over 7, and Jose Berrios over 5 strikeouts. Then you can flex in some Marcus Simeon, some Yordan Alvarez, some Kevin Kiermaier and Varsho. But these are the guys I'm targeting today. I think it's a great slate. There could be some really big performances. Wade Miley up against the Yankees. We may see some overs in that one. He hasn't faced the Yankees when I was looking back since 2016, so zero data on there. But again, it's another matchup that could be beatable. Could see another over. He could get completely shelled by the Yankees, but not a lot of data on it. Judge is close, but he's still 8.5 hitter score. I don't love it overall. So these are the guys I like today. I love Bo. I think he's in a great spot. If you want to stack Jays, I don't hate it overall. I think there's a lot of run potential there. And then you talk about Drury, like I mentioned, Alvarez, and Berrios could be the ticket. Like, he's got a really high pitcher fantasy score. He doesn't even have an outs prop on PrizePicks, and I think it's because he's going to be getting a lot of innings and a lot of outs, and I really like the strikeouts for Berrios today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you drop me a like if you like this video, and subscribe for future content. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you tail, give them hell, and if we fail, do not bail. I'll be back tomorrow. More MLB picks, more MLB plays. I'm out. Peace.